It is here. It is here. It is finally here, guys. Attack on Titan, the 100th chapter is upon us. And before we get into this review, just a real quick announcement. The Attack on Titan Chapter 100 giveaway that I promised you guys will be happening later on this week. See the end of the video for all the details about it. But it is happening and I want to give you guys some stuff, so either skip to the end of the video or stick around for the review. Either way, let's get into this chapter, this milestone we have all been waiting for. Let's get into it. So, we start off with Magath and Billy Tiber, and as most of us suspected, Billy Tiber has had a double plan all along, although not quite in the way most of us expected he did. As some people pointed out in the previous chapters, it was pretty strange how the people at the festival were seated. Well, it turns out that this was intentional as well. Billy has gathered all of these diplomats from around the world and all of the worldwide media, along with high-ranking military commanders, in an Eldian slum to declare war on Paradis, obviously, but that's only part of his plan. It turns out that the Tiber family has spies everywhere, through the various countries, in the military, and maybe in Paradis as well. He talks about how since he became the leader of the Tiber family, they have been developing sincere relationships with upper classes around the world as an effort to not only improve the status of Eldians in the eyes of everyone, but also to keep an eye on Paradis. Then he said something that caught my attention. He says, "We should have looked at our feet because the enemy has crossed the ocean and approached our neck. Now, it's not strange if we get beheaded at any time," which confirms that Billy knew that the people of Paradis have invaded the walls. He even goes on to say how there are people who secretly cooperate with Paradis all around the world, and people inside of Marley's own military who may betray them at any moment, so there's only one chance, one opportunity to bring them all out of hiding at once. Billy has predicted that the festival he is holding will be the perfect time for his enemies to come and attack, and he plans to use himself as bait to draw them out. He purposely sits the Eldians closest to the stage with him, so if an attack does occur, they're the ones who will be harmed. And of course, after hearing this plan, Commander Magath is shocked by it and tries to stop him, but Billy simply tells him that there's no other option. He tells him that afterwards, even if he dies, all of their enemies will have revealed themselves, so then afterwards he can go through and build the military however he wants to. Magath again shows his soft side by trying to reason and saying that a whole lot of people will die if they follow through with this plan. To which Billy yells at him and tells him that the deaths will be mostly Eldians and they are the descendants of the devil, so it'll be okay. Billy tells Magath that he has sent countless Eldians to their deaths on the battlefields without showing a shred of remorse, and that this is no different from that, so he should just shut up and keep doing the things that he has done up to this point. Magath has recently become one of my favorite characters. Even though he is a high-ranking Marley official, he never shows any disrespect to the warriors or the regular Eldians, at least that we've seen. And this shows again throughout this entire conversation with Billy that you can tell that he knows this plan is way too risky and he doesn't want to sacrifice countless endless people. He tries to talk Billy out of it one more time and tells him that this is not a war. They don't know who their enemy is, they don't know what type of plan the enemy has to attack them, or the weapons at their enemy's disposal, and worst of all, there are countless people surrounding the stage. And if Billy chooses to follow through with this plan, Magath will not be able to protect Billy, and he'll die. Surprisingly enough, Billy tells him that he is prepared for that, and that he has no other option than to be the bait, because if he doesn't come out on that stage, the world won't be paying attention, and there won't be all of these high-profile witnesses from around the world gathered together. He has accepted the fact that himself and all of the Eldians in the slum must be the victims of an unforeseen attack. It is the only way, the absolute only way, to make the whole world their allies and have them join their war against Paradis. So, now we're back to the night of the play, and Billy is addressing the audience. He tells them that when he found out the secrets of the Tiber family, he became sick to his stomach. The Tiber family basically sold all of the Eldians to Marley in exchange for them becoming high-class citizens, and now he wants to atone for the past sins of his family. Then we see Commander Magath, who is watching the play from a rooftop way far away, and it makes sense now why he's so far away, because he knows what's about to happen. He gets a visit from the guys who Pieck spoke to last chapter. They frantically tell him that the warriors have been kidnapped, and Magath becomes furious. So that theory that Magath was in on the plot to lock the warriors up so that they couldn't help is thrown way out the window now. But we do get confirmation that Best Girl Pieck did in fact tell that soldier when she hugged him that something was wrong and he should go get help last chapter. God, I love Pieck so much. Then we transition over to Pieck and Galliard, who after falling through that trap are at the bottom of an extremely narrow bunker. Pieck starts searching around and finds some food, water, and a portable toilet, which I find hilarious because of the expression on her face. You know, it makes me wonder if Commander Zackley had something to do with the portable toilet, because we all remember how he gets down. Anyways, they try to escape but soon realize that they can't because of how narrow the walls in the bunker are. And if they try to transform, then they may kill one another in the blast from the transformation. They try to figure out why they were trapped, and Best Girl Pieck only says that she's not sure, but she is sure that she has seen that soldier from somewhere before. She doesn't know if he's from the Marley or a lone wolf. Possibly alluding to a Survey Corps member again? Or maybe somebody else we don't know about yet. We'll just have to see how the next couple chapters play out before we get an answer to that. We're back to Billy talking to the audience, and he fills them in on more of the history of the world. He talks again about how the walls of Paradis are both shields and spears, which I really like that expression. He says that the 3 walls of Paradis are named after the 3 daughters of Ymir, which is a huge reveal in my opinion. I called it. Back in my season 2 ending theme analysis video, I even said that these 3 girls were the goddesses of the walls. Oh, by the way, links in the description if you want to check that video out. He reiterates that the millions of titans inside the wall aren't a threat because the royal bloodline are tied down by the first king's will. But now that Eren has stolen the power, the world is finally in danger. Now, if you guys have been bored up to this point, just bear with me just a little bit longer and let's transition over to Eren. Falco starts off by telling Eren that he deceived him, and Eren apologizes and says that the letter that he made Falco send wasn't actually to his family. It was to his comrade, singular. Now, unless this was a bad translation, it really intrigues me. He says that he sent it to his comrade, which means that only got sent to one person. But who? Was it Rotkun? Was it Zeke? Or was it somebody that we don't actually know about yet? Could you guys imagine the twists and turns and just booyah factor if we found out that Eren and Billy Tiber were somehow working together? That would throw this manga on its head. That's something that I don't think anybody would see coming. But I don't think it'll happen, but it would be crazy. Billy continues to talk about all of the millions of titans inside the walls. He says that all of their technological advancements, no matter how impressive, will be useless in the face of millions of Colossus-sized titans. And once the ground leveling attack starts, there will be nothing they can do except hide and wait for the apocalypse to reach them. All cities, all civilizations, as well as humanity, all the plants, and every animal will be trampled over, and that their only option to save the world is to stop that threat and act right now. And Eren, who's in a bunker just a few feet away, hears all of this and says that he agrees. He says that he is the bad guy and he may destroy the world, but in his eyes, they're all the bad guys. And again, for like the millionth time now, we have to see Carla's death over again. And Eren questions Reiner. He asked, why did the people inside the walls who didn't do anything have to suffer? He doesn't understand why his mom had to be eaten right in front of him. To which Rainer takes responsibility and tells him that it's because he destroyed the walls. Eren asked him why, and he said he broke the walls to fulfill his mission of recapturing the founding Titan, and most importantly, his mission to save the world. Eren starts to think to himself for a second, and he says, you know what? It was inevitable. He knows that sooner or later, someone would have broken into the walls in an attempt to get the power, and at least this way, even though so much awfulness has happened to him, he's in a position to do something about it now. Rainer, who has been in an existential crisis for the past few chapters, finally reaches the end of his rope, and he asks Eren, is the reason he came to fulfill the promise he made when he told him that he will make all of them die in the most excruciating way possible. And to Rainer's surprise, Falco's surprise, and even my surprise, Eren says, no, please forget about that. Now, when I first saw this, I had to take a step back. Eren Yeager, being cool-headed and not solely focused on getting his vengeance? I guess this man really has matured during this time skip, because this is not the Eren that we knew and grew up with. He says that originally, he saw everyone across the ocean as his enemies. But then once he actually came over there and stayed under the same roof as his enemies and ate the same food as his enemies, he realized that he was in the same position that Rainer was in. He says that of course there were people who pissed him off, and there were also good people. And that whether you're across the ocean or inside the wall of Paradise, it doesn't matter, it's all the same. There are these people no matter where you go. He tells Rainer that destroying the walls was not 100% his fault. He was brainwashed from the very beginning to think that the people inside the walls of Paradise were his enemies. Eren had been observing Rainer for a while now. He watched the way that he interacted with all the other people and the warrior recruits. And he says that a child that had everyone around them telling them lies would eventually believe that lie themselves. And there's no way that a child could rebel against that. He asked Rainer if he was in constant agony the entire time he was in the walls of Paradise, because he finally understands what it's like to see things from his point of view. Rainer falls down on the floor and tells him that he's wrong. He tells him that originally the mission failed before it even started, and he tells him that after Marcel was eaten, Bert and Annie wanted to retreat, but he forced them to stay for his own selfish ways. He wanted to complete the mission and become a hero, and to have people look up and respect him. He says it doesn't matter what events may have led up to it or what he was taught. No matter how you look at it, Carla's death is 100% his fault. He tells Eren that he is a despicable person and he hates himself. Rainer tells him that he just wants to disappear, and he begs Eren to kill him. Rainer's multiple personality disorder, or whatever he has going on in his head, his schizophrenic personalities have finally hit together, and we're finally seeing him at the end of his rope, I believe. Then we transition back over to Billy, who is still speaking to the crowd, but there's a few lines he said here that I just want to quote. He tells the audience that the danger the world faces is all because of the existence of the Eldians, again pushing the Eldians down into the dirt, saying how useless they are and how they all just need to vanish. Every problem in the world is the Eldians' fault. He says, I didn't want to be born. I resented this blood, and I hope for the extinction of the Eldians more than anyone else. I didn't want to be born. I resented this blood, and I hope for the extinction of the Eldians more than anyone else. You can see here the way that the Eldian children in the Marley are taught. They are taught to hate themselves from the very beginning. They are taught that no matter how good of a person they are, they will always be cursed and their lives are meaningless. And then, strangely out of nowhere, we get a single frame of Zeke looking back towards the festival like he knows something is about to happen. Zeke has been acting extremely strange since the time skip, but these last couple chapters, he has gotten a lot more suspect, but we'll come back to that later. We then transition back over to Billy and his speech, where he continues by saying, that's the way I used to feel, But now, I don't want to die, because I was born in this world. Which is such a moving line to me, and just as moving as it is to me, it must have been just as moving to the people in the crowd, because they gave him a standing ovation as they all had tears in their eyes. During the standing ovation, Billy asked everyone in the audience to join him in his fight to wipe out the devils in Paradise Island once and for all, to which everyone cheers and agrees to. Upon hearing this, Eren seems troubled, and he stands up and tells Reiner that he should stand up as well. He says that he finally gets it. He says that him and Reiner are the same as each other, which we have all noticed since the beginning of this Marley arc. Like, the parallels between the lives of Eren and Reiner now are almost without a doubt the same, which leads me to something that I never saw coming up next. Billy finally declares war on Paradise, and as Eren and Reiner are shaking hands, Eren says the most badass line that I've heard in a long time. He says, "I will continue to advance until I wipe out the enemy." And then his hand starts glowing. Reiner realizes what's about to happen, so he hurries and tries to shield Falco. And just before the explosion, we get a single frame of Eren that puts fear even into my heart. This is a man with a goal who I would not want to come up against. Eren transforms right away, presumably destroying the building and killing all of the people who were above watching the show. And we can see from the panels right after he transformed that some of the debris from the explosion killed some of the people in the audience. So Eren transforms right above Billy Tiber as he presumably rips his body in half and he goes to eat him. A true declaration of war has been issued and the first blood has been spilled. Whew. Alright, so the big things we obviously need to talk about in this chapter are Billy, Reiner, and Eren. At this point in this manga, I'm not even sure who the bad guys are and who the good guys are anymore. Everyone says they are fighting for freedom, but the cost of that freedom will leave many others to die. It really reminds me of Shiro Emiya from the Fate series, how he wants to save everyone, but being faced with the fact that if you want to save many people's lives, you have to sacrifice some to get there. Billy has decided that his life and the lives of the countless other people in the crowd are worth losing to unite the world against Paradise, whereas Eren has become a totally different person since this time skip. The Eren Yeager I know would never have killed innocent people to get to his goal. It's weird. Eren is becoming the person that Armin said that Erwin was. To defeat a monster, you must be willing to throw aside your humanity and all that makes you human. Eren has finally decided what steps he needs to take to achieve his goal of saving the world, and he won't let anybody stand in his way. I imagine that Mikasa would be so proud of him right now. He isn't a child anymore who sees the world in black and white. He now has a clear goal and won't let anything stand in his way. To him, the ends justify the means. If he has to kill innocent people repeatedly, it's fine so long as the peace at the end will be achieved. And honestly, when you look at it, everybody in this audience just declared war on him and his friends, so his actions kind of hold justification. I'm just saying. Literally, the only bad thing I have to say about this chapter is that there was no Annie. But I'm sure that she'll make an appearance soon. So I'll just have to wait till then, I guess. I cannot wait to see this chapter animated, whenever that happens. I mean, can you guys imagine the epic music that Sawano Hiroyuki is gonna have playing in the background, and Eren's gonna be like, "I've probably been like this since I was born. I'll continue to advance until my enemies have been wiped out." Just the thought of that sends chills down my spine, and I just can't wait, guys. But what do you guys think? Did this chapter deliver the way you thought it would? If not, what do you wish Isayama would have put in here? What the heck is Zeke up to, and where are the rest of the Survey Corps? If you guys have any of these answers, please be sure to comment down below and let me know your thoughts on the chapter. Grim Reminder 2.0 is in effect, guys, and we will have to wait a whole nother month to see it in action. No, Matter of fact, didn't last year we got 2 chapters in December? Please let it be that way again. I would love a second chapter in December. Isayama, don't let me down, bro. But you know what you don't have to wait a whole nother month for? It is my Attack on Titan chapter 100 giveaway that I spoke about last chapter. I wanted to do it before this chapter released, but some things came up. Fate Granddaughter. But anyways, as soon as this video goes live, within 48 hours, the giveaway video will go up. So please stay tuned for that, because you guys have always been excellent to me, and I want to give back to my Attack on Titan audience, because you guys are my favorites. Like, I love all of you guys to death. So yeah, just be on the lookout for that within the next 2 days. Anyways though, guys, that's going to wrap up this video. I'm so curious to see what you guys think about this, so don't forget to leave the answers down in the comment section below. Like this video if you enjoyed, and for more Attack on Titan videos, make sure you subscribe. And hey, until the next video, guys, best wishes.